Okay, welcome to Raccoon Rambles. We are inside tonight because it's raining out and I can't risk getting all the electrical equipment wet. So I've decided to let the raccoons come in here and join us for tonight. So whatever raccoons want to just wander on inside, we're having a raccoon ramble party inside. If you don't know, my name is Brendan and I post a lot of nature videos, and I'm also a mental toughness coach. Today we're going to be talking about developing a heroic quality that will help you go even further in life. It's going to be all about courage. What would you do in your life if you had more courage? We're going to unpack different types of courage. We're going to do a self-assessment so you can see what your courage score is out of 60. And I'm going to help you develop your own custom courage recipe. All tonight on Raccoon Rambles. We're going to have a lot of fun here. So first of all, what is courage? You might say courage is all about handling fear well so you can do the right thing. You know, on one end of the spectrum, we have foolishness. That's when you don't have any fears at all. And at the other end of the spectrum, we got paranoia, where you're perceiving threats everywhere. And courage is in the middle. It involves wise caution. It's fearing the right things in the right proportion, in the right time, and fearing them in the right way. But usually involves facing those risks and fears to do something for the greater good. Let's first of all talk about why this matters so much. Why is fear and cowardice a bad idea? Well, number one, the more we fear, the more we hesitate. And the more we hesitate, the more likely it is that our fears come true. It becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The other thing is that usually when you think about it, everything we really want is on the other side of fear. Fear is like a cave troll that's guarding the deepest treasures we seek. And fear and nervousness and cowardice, it leads to physical disturbances. It can disturb your nerves. It can aggravate physical aches and pains in the body. It can lead to digestive issues. It can lead to heart issues. It can lead to brain issues. Fear is like mental poison. And why is courage a good idea? Well, we set our sights higher. We try harder. We persevere longer. We are able to show up as the best version of ourselves and go all in with better judgment, better relationships, better creativity. It helps us live our best life. We need courage to live our life in the most heroic way. So now we're going to go on to the self-assessment for courage. Question number one, I need you to score this on a scale out of 10. Question one is, does your inner dialogue strengthen you? If so, score it on a scale of 10. 10 out of 10 means 100% yes all the time. Give yourself a score and maybe write down why you give yourself that score. This category is self-respect, which is a key component of courage. Question 2 is, do you feel you have effective abilities for the areas of life that matter most? Score that on a scale out of 10. 10 means 100% yes. This category is self-confidence. Do you feel you deserve good things in life? Do you feel you deserve good things in life? Score that on a scale out of 10. And why you give yourself that score? This category is self-esteem. The next question is, can you do the right thing without caring what other people think? Score that on a scale of 10. 10 out of 10 means 100% yes, you can do the right thing and don't have a care at all what people think. This category is self-assurance. For the next question, are you living the life you want without letting external pressures or fears guide your path? Are you living the life you want without letting external pressures or fears guide your path? Score that out of 10 and perhaps write down why. This category is self-determinism, and it's a key aspect of courage. And the final question is, can you trust in divine support and protection no matter what happens? Can you trust in divine support and protection no matter what happens? This category is called faith. Score that one on a scale out of 10. Okay, for the next part, I want to know, if you had more courage, what would you do? First of all, if you had more courage, what would you do socially? Would you maybe reach out to somebody from the past? Would you speak up for yourself more? Would you put yourself out there more and introduce yourself to people? What would you do physically if you had more courage? Would you maybe commit to that healthy eating plan, even in social situations when you have a lot of peer pressure? Would you maybe go to the gym, even though it can be an intimidating environment, perhaps get a personal trainer? Would you maybe participate in that activity that might be exciting but a little bit risky, such as skydiving, scuba diving, maybe ice water plunging? And what would you do in your work life if you had more courage? Would you maybe ask for that raise or promotion you've earned? Would you maybe speak up a little bit more on decisions that you don't agree with? Would you maybe start a new career path or a new job that excites you, even though it means starting over? Or maybe start your own business? In your work life, what would you do if you had even more courage? And as far as your purpose and direction in life, what would you do if you had more courage? Might you consider moving to a new country or a new city in which you might thrive? Maybe carve out more time for your hobbies and interests. Maybe cut out some distractions and obligations that have been taking up a lot of your time. Now, there are some key attitude shifts we should have to develop courage. One is self respect. So, you want to think who values you and sees the best in you in your life, and how might you integrate their perspective into your own? You might also want to consider what criticisms do you hold about yourself, and how are those criticisms unfair or untrue? Next, we want to develop self confidence and the attitude that everything I need is within me now. Why? Because do you have the capacity to learn? Yes or no? Can you be coached and guided? Yes or no? And can you get yourself 10 out of 10 motivated? If you can learn, you can be guided, and you can get 10 out of 10 motivated, everything you need is within you, because it's not where you are, it's where you're going that matters most. So we might want to ask ourselves, what skills do I need to develop? How can I best motivate myself to develop those skills? And how can I best learn those skills? Who can I speak to? Now, the next thing we need to do is develop self esteem. There's a little caveat to this thing. Sometimes narcissists have exaggerated levels of self esteem because they feel more entitled. And that's not what we're speaking about here. We're speaking about a healthy and appropriate level of self esteem. Not feeling like we deserve more than others, but feeling like we're all valuable. So, for self esteem, we want to think about who values and appreciates me, and what is it specifically that they value and appreciate about me? Also, what do I appreciate about myself? Maybe my kindness, my curiosity, my patience, my silliness. What are some fulfilling and rewarding life experiences I've had? And what character strengths did I employ to accomplish them? Think about these things as a start for developing self esteem. Next, we're going to talk about self assurance, which is all about trusting in our purpose without requiring validation from others. So, first off, let's consider how do I define success? And am I pursuing it for myself or for the expectations of others? Another question we might ask is how would I approach my challenges if I wasn't second guessing or doubting myself? How would I approach my challenges if I wasn't second guessing or doubting myself? And another question we might ask is what self doubts keep appearing and how might I challenge them? What's the empowering truth? And the final category is self determination. This is all about the belief that we are in control of our lives instead of life controlling us. So you might want to reflect on what are some habits you've changed? In what ways have you improved in your life? What benefits have you experienced from taking extreme ownership and personal responsibility in your life? What aspects of my current situation are in my control? What approaches could help me handle my challenges more effectively? But we need to remember that fear is constructed when we convince ourselves that the worst outcomes are likely to happen. I call that negative faith, and that is bad form in thinking. It also happens when we focus on what we can't control instead of what we can control. And it also happens when we focus on everything going against us instead of everything that's going for us. So, for all these reasons, fear really comes down to bad form in thinking. And we need to kick fear to the curb. And we can kick fear to the curb by asking ourselves, how is this fear irrational? How might others think it's unjustified or exaggerated? We want to disarm our fears before we kick into our courage recipe. So let's talk about the 5 different types of courage and how to develop them. And we're going to make your own custom courage formula using one reflection question from each category. And you're going to pick your favorite reflection question for each category. So this is going to be an exciting process. You're going to build a very empowering tool you're going to be able to use from this point onward to help cultivate even more courage for the tasks in front of you. So our first category is competency courage. So competency courage comes from knowing that you can rely on skills and experience and action steps in order to be successful in your situation. So I'm going to give you 3 reflection questions that can help you summon competency courage, and you pick which one you like best. Option A for competency courage, ask ourselves, if I imagine myself fully prepared, how would I approach this challenge? If I imagine myself fully prepared, how would I approach this challenge? That is option A. Option B, how can I use my skills, knowledge, and experience to overcome this? How can I use my skills, knowledge, and experience to overcome this? And option C, what skills or knowledge do I need to feel prepared? What skills or knowledge do I need to feel prepared? So those are your 3 options for reflection questions to cultivate competency courage. Pick your favorite, and that'll be ingredient 1 for your courage recipe. Our next type of courage is blind courage. This is all about shifting our attention and focus away from things that trigger fear. So if you're afraid of heights, don't look down. If you're not very good at singing karaoke, don't look at the audience. So we're going to go into 3 options for blind courage, and you pick your favorite. Okay, so option A for blind courage is to ask ourselves, what should I block out or ignore? What should I block out or ignore? Option B is to ask ourselves, what negative influences should I intentionally avoid? This might be people, places, things like the news, because fear spreads like a virus. And option C is, what distractions or insecurities should I block out to feel more confident? So these distractions and insecurities are going to come knocking on our door. Doesn't mean you have to open the door and invite them in and feed them grapes and peanuts, right? So pick your favorite of those three questions for blind courage, and that will be ingredient number 2 in your courage recipe. The third type of courage is hopeful courage. And this comes from trusting that luck and past successes have prepared us for a good outcome. So, option A for hopeful courage is to ask ourselves, what do I have going for me? And why is luck and good fortune on my side? What do I have going for me? And why is luck and good fortune on my side? Option A. Option B is to ask ourselves, what challenges have I conquered in the past that were harder than this? What challenges have I conquered in the past that were harder than this? And option C is, what's a lucky charm or a reminder that will boost my confidence? What's a lucky charm or reminder that will boost my confidence? Because we can use superstition for hope in this manner. And the next category is purpose driven courage. Because oftentimes we can find our bravery more when we're doing it for others than when we're doing it just for ourselves. So we can find a mission or purpose that is bigger than our fears. For example, you might be afraid to write a book, but when you think about the people that are suffering right now because you haven't written that book, you find your purpose driven courage. So let's go into a couple examples we can use for reflection questions for this one. Option A, we might ask, how is it my duty in life to take this action? How is it my duty in life to take this action? For example, if you're being attacked by a foreign country and they're taking away all your freedoms, this is your duty. It's like a military duty. You have to stand up for yourself, right? Option B for purpose driven courage is, how would it be shameful not to do this? For example, we might be afraid to go to the gym, but some people are in wheelchairs and they're disabled. For option C, we might ask, who is struggling because I haven't acted yet? And who will struggle and suffer in future if I don't act? And for option D, we might ask, what positive impact could my actions have? How could it serve the greater good? So those are your purpose-driven options. Pick your favorite of the 4, and that will be your next ingredient in your courage recipe. Come on. The next category is my favorite category. Yogananda calls this divine courage. So this is all about relating to a reality greater than this one, relating to your spiritual identity instead of your human identity, and trusting in divine protection. If we fill ourselves with faith, there's no room for fear. So here's some options for this one. Option A, can I remember that I am indestructible consciousness and nothing here can harm my true self, the soul? Can I remember that I am indestructible consciousness? That's option A. Option B, can I trust that guardian spirits and angels are guiding my life? And if I could see all the support I have, I would never fear or doubt again. Can I trust that guardian angels and spirits are guiding my life? And if I could see all the support I have, I would never fear or doubt again. That's option B. And as I said that, a little moth angel flew into the cottage here. For option C, I should remember that nothing can happen to me beyond what God allows. I should be happy to face what I must endure. Remind ourselves that nothing can happen to us beyond what God permits or God allows. That's option C. For option D, for divine courage, can I remember that no matter what happens, God and I will find a way to handle it together? No matter what happens, God and I will find a way to handle it together. And option E, the final one, it's a very advanced one. It's to tell ourselves, can I remember that from a place of maximum love and wisdom across all space and time, every outcome is perfect, even death? This one's deep. Can I remember that from a place of maximum love across all space and time, every outcome is perfect, including death? Because when we die, we are born to eternal life. So those are your options for divine courage. I gave you 5. Pick your favorite of the 5 and write it down, and that is the final ingredient in your courage recipe. Now, how might we use this moving forward? Well, we might apply this to any area of our life that's meaningful to tap into our courage, because our courage is like our heroic superpower. Courage really is the hero quality. Facing fear and doing it anyway. Come on. We might hang up some reminders of these things. When we're feeling stuck, we might want to reflect on these things. And we might want to teach it to others. You know, when you teach something to another person, you learn it on a deeper level. So I'd encourage you to help somebody else develop their courage recipe. You know, each of us in our own little corner of the world, we all have our heroic missions we're on. You're the hero in your life story. A more courageous version of you is needed for you to successfully carry out your life mission and live the life that inspires you. And frankly, you're courageous just for watching this video to the end, because it shows that you're willing to do what it takes to succeed and find your strength. So many people say they want a better life, but they're not willing to do anything about it. Not you, though. You're here hanging out with me and the raccoons, figuring out these deeper mysteries in life in terms of how we can self-realize our highest potential and live our best life. Be you without fear.